The Tahirih Justice Center was created as a result of my involvement in what became a high-profile case. I was a law student at the time, and I happened to be working in the summer of my second year in law school for an immigration attorney who was hired by the cousin of a young woman, she was 17 years old, from Togo, and she was going to be forced to undergo female genital mutilation. And she was going to be forced to marry a 45-year-old man as his fourth wife. And it just had happened that a number of years earlier, I had done service with actually the Baha'i community in Gambia and was exposed to female genital mutilation and became interested in it. And so I wrote a law journal article when I was in law school on whether or not female genital mutilation could be a basis for political asylum. And at the time, it could not. Our refugee and asylum laws were developed after World War II. And they were developed to expressly protect people who were facing political, race, nationality, membership in a particular social group, and religion. So these are the 5 grounds on which you can be a refugee in the United States. And if you didn't notice, gender is not one of them. And so women were not allowed to receive protection in the United States because of forms of persecution inflicted because of gender. So I made what was kind of just a legal academic argument at the time in a law journal article that you should be able to receive asylum on that basis. But then as fate had it, I was now representing a young woman who had the same fact pattern. And so I argued her case before the immigration judge, and we lost. And then I took the case to American University's Human Rights Law Clinic, where there an army of law professors and law students worked on the case, and I continued to work on the case, and it was appealed to the highest immigration appellate court. And there she won, and her case set legal precedent and opened up the doors to what we now call gender-based asylum. There was commercial interest in her story and in my story of helping her as a law student, and so she and I wrote a book together. It's called Do They Hear You When You Cry? It was published by Delacorte Press in 1998. And I used all of my portion of the proceeds of the book to start the Tahirih Justice Center. I, however, was not involved in the first 6 years of the organization's existence at the operational level. I was on the board, but I had some very wise mentors who reminded me that I didn't know what I was doing. And I still don't, really, but I really didn't when I was 23. And so based on their advice, I worked for people. And I was mentored, I was heavily edited, I was trained, and tried to learn how to be a lawyer first. And then I came to Tahirih, and that's been my full-time job since.
Oh,